Oh my gosh, hey, I'm recording out by the beautiful lake because I just took my RD exam and I passed. So I'm going to share with you how I studied and what I studied and how the exam was. I'm really distracted. People are blasting music out here. Okay, so I got an email about a week ago, like literally about a week ago, I think Sunday, from the CDR that said that I was eligible to take the exam. And so I logged in as soon as I could, and the earliest test date was today, Saturday, and I signed up for it. And the reason I did that was because a lot of people from my program were saying things like, you know, I spent a week to study, I took a month to study, and I really didn't need a month to study. And somebody else would say, you know, our program prepares us really well. Some people even said, you know, I almost feel like I could have passed without even studying. That's what some people even said. So I was like, why even wait? Why, you know, repeat other people's mistakes? Why should I wait? Especially because I'm looking for part-time work. Unless it's in eating disorder or functional medicine or telehealth, I'm looking for part-time work. And it seems to me that part-time jobs, you need to have your RD license. There are some full-time jobs that will hire you on the condition that you get your license within 6 months of hire, but I haven't seen any part-time jobs like that. And listen, I'm trying to get paid. So I was like, I need to get my license as soon as I possibly can. I don't know where the accent is coming from. So that's why I decided to only give myself a week. So basically how I studied, my studying was like maybe half an hour to an hour for the first 3 days, for the first 3 to 4 days. Procrastinating the rest of the time. And then for today, studying today, yesterday, and the day before, and a little bit, maybe a little bit the day before, I like put in full focus, like I am studying and minimal procrastination kind of stuff. Much earlier I had purchased the Inman from somebody, and I divided it amongst my classmates. So I purchased it and then distributed it to my classmates, and they all pitched in to pay me back. And so at first I was thinking, okay, all we need is Inman, because everybody talks about Inman review. And so I've been listening to Inman off and on, and I was kind of going through it, and I just really didn't feel confident with Inman. I knew that if my only study material was Inman, then essentially I wouldn't even study, because Inman is just, it's a text and you know, an audio that's kind of boring. And you know, I know myself and I know my personality. I knew I wouldn't actually study. I knew the studying wouldn't happen. So I had been subscribing to Dietitian Question of the Day, and I had also been subscribing to rdstudy.com's video of the day. And I started watching some of the video of the days, and they were very, very helpful. Like, oh my gosh, they were so helpful. So I was like, you know what? Let me just purchase a week subscription to rdstudy.com. I highly recommend rdstudy.com. There are many, I think there are, you know, a couple of ways, a couple of different websites and companies you can use to study. I love rdstudy.com. So how rdstudy.com works was that it had a list of all the objectives that are going to be on the RD exam, and some of them have videos. Notice I say some of them. They don't have videos for every single point. They don't have videos for every single thing that's going to be on the exam, unfortunately, but they have quite a lot of videos. So basically I watched all of those videos. At the end of those videos, there's typically a quiz, and I found those quizzes really prepared me I mean, there were several questions, I want to like at least 10 questions, honestly, that I would not be able to answer confidently if it weren't for rdstudy.com and their awesome videos and the awesome quizzes at the end of the videos. They were fantastic. I mean, I got my money's worth. I was able to answer those questions confidently, the questions that I watched the videos for. So that's why I highly recommend it. RD Study also has a test bank, so you can take practice test questions and see what you got wrong and why you got it wrong. So I did a little bit of that. And then periodically, whenever I was in the car and just killing time on the road or just sitting outside of a Starbucks because I'm bored, I would listen to the Inman review audio and follow along, reading the text as she speaks in the audio. So that way I was getting different forms of learning, right? I'm writing things down and I'm reading it and I'm listening to it and I'm watching it on rdstudy.com. So I tried to accommodate to my study style as much as possible. So as the test approached, I was very nervous because, you know, everyone says you're gonna pass. There's an 85% passing rate. My school that I graduated from has a 100% pass rate. But still, at the same time, I was like, well, what if I'm the first person to mess up that 100%? What if I'm one of the 15% who don't pass the first time? I had a lot of what ifs. I kept trying to give myself the positive talk. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But I tried to stay positive for the most part. I never felt fully prepared, especially with the MNT. I mean, and there really is no way, unless you were if you were an exceptional student and you applied everything you learned in school in your rotations and you have been reviewing regularly, maybe you would know everything, but there's just no way to remember everything you learned in MNT, you know, every little detail about vitamins and deficiencies and toxicities. But there are some things that appeared quite a lot, both in my practice exams and on my actual exam. So I go in there, I go into the Pearson location, and I'm very nervous. Like I kept needing to use the restroom. I was so nervous all day today. I kept having to go like a little chihuahua. And I kept losing my breath, like, oh my gosh. And they took me in and they scan you, they make sure you are who you say you are, and they check all over your body to make sure that you didn't write notes on your body. And then you go in there and they're actually videotaping you and audio recording you to make sure that you're not cheating. So don't get any wise ideas, any tricky people. And so I was just taking a test and I was like, oh my gosh, how many questions left? Oh my gosh, I have 100 questions left. Okay, how many questions left? And like as I got, so if the test cuts you off at 125 questions, you know you passed. So I was like, okay, I just have to get to question 125 and I know if I passed. Okay, oh my gosh, how many questions left? Oh my gosh, I was like thinking that the whole time. I was so nervous. I guessed on a lot of the questions, I guessed. I guessed on a lot of them. A lot of them as well, like I mentioned before, I feel like I only answered confidently because of rdstudy.com. And then many of the questions were from the recesses of my memory. I just remember, well, I remember studying for my pediatrics exam and galactosemia. I was recalling on memories from times that I studied in the past for school. I was recalling on quite a lot of that, and I was recalling on my experience in rotations. I recalled on some of that as well. there's, you know, it's really not just MNT. I feel like I didn't get very many MNT questions. I got a few pediatrics questions about growth, you know, gestational age, how do you grow, you know, how do you know a kid has failure to thrive kind of thing. Some questions, they worded to make you think that it's MNT, but it's actually not MNT. There was tube feeding, but it wasn't difficult. It wasn't as difficult as, you know, when you actually have to calculate a tube feed, for real. But knowing that very well gives you confidence. Quite a lot of, again, what I learned from RD Study, a lot of what I learned on rdstudy.com was food service. The food service and all those equations for food service. Yes, quite a lot of that on the RD exam. Quite a lot. I'm so happy that I paid the $69 for a week of rdstudy.com, because I got all of those. I'm pretty sure I got correct. Trying to think of what else. Oh, community. There's a lot of community, like, you know, kind of common sense community, like, oh, the city health department nutritionists are teaching people this thing. What's the first thing you should do as a dietitian? You know, or, oh, you see the kitchen staff left the sandwich condiments outside on their lunch, you know, while they went on their break. What do you do as a dietitian? Like, you know, kind of common sense questions like that. And you know, the organizations, like, what does OSHA do? And you know, who does the food stamps, and I don't know, stuff like that. How do you know you're eligible? Kind of stuff. So the RD exam, study everything. So that's how I studied. That's what happened on my exam. How do I wish I studied? So in an ideal world, how do I wish I studied? I think a week was enough, obviously. A week was enough. A week was enough to study. Absolutely going through all of the rdstudy.com videos. And you could go through them in a day, honestly. I wish I went through them in a whole day. I wish maybe prior to signing up, I had been listening to Inman Review. I tried listening before and I was just so bored. I was just so bored that I couldn't do it. I would be in my car listening to it like, I'm gonna listen to some Flo Rida now. I couldn't do it. But actually sitting down, you know, like as school is winding down and spending half an hour a day listening to Inman and going through the book, maybe something like that. So, you know, I wouldn't actually ever do it. Like, let's be real, that's not something I would do. But in an ideal world, that would be nice to ensure that I at least know, I'm at least familiar with everything that's going to be on the exam. So, you know, going through Inman once, doing the rdstudy.com in a day, the videos in a day, and that's fantastic to have two. For me, it was great to have two different sources of information. So sometimes I'm hearing the same thing, but hearing it in a different way, and it's like, oh my gosh, I never realized that. You know, you make connections that you didn't even think about before. And then maybe also in an ideal world, I would have purchased another study aid, just again to hear that repetition with a different voice and a different style, and try to go through that in a day or so. After that, I would start just doing practice exams, just as much as possible doing practice questions. So, like, you know, for the rest of the week, just be doing as many practice exams as I possibly can. Just sit down and do it. Don't even have to sit down and do it. Just maybe do 5 questions every hour or something while you're cleaning your house and cooking. I don't know. Just go through the questions and you'll become familiar with how the questions are asked. Some study aids have harder questions than the actual RD exam, which is great because it makes you feel more confident. And you know, being familiar with what your weakness is and just catching random things, because the questions are kind of random, you know. So just catching like a random, I didn't know, I did not remember that what a sentinel event at a hospital was, you know. Just catching random things that you missed when you were going through the Inman or the whatever your study aid was. You catch those random things when you do practice questions, and I would have done as many as possible. And then I would have taken like my own practice RD exam to see if I can pass, and then I would have taken the exam stress-free. So that's how I would have studied in an ideal world. I clearly did not study in any ideal fashion whatsoever, and I passed. You know, I did better than pass. I didn't just pass. I didn't just barely pass. I actually securely passed. So, also, I gotta give credit to my education. My school does have a 100% pass rate. So they really do prepare us very well. They do prepare us. The exams that we took throughout our program were very similar to the RD exam, except for the food service. I don't think I would have gotten some of that food service stuff without RD study, but my school did prepare us very well. And so, if any of my classmates are watching that, you have that to rely on. I know some of you might be relying almost solely on that, and I think you could pass even then. So yeah, that's my take. So now I'm just out here. Oh no! I got chocolate covered strawberries, and I think there's ants on them. Ants were trying to get in them. No, no! Oh no, I hope there's no ants in here. I'm still gonna eat them. Okay. This is so, I'm still recording. I don't know how to prioritize right now. I think all the ants are gone. Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's about it. So the world is my oyster. It's been a dream of mine for 4 years to become an expert in nutrition, and so now I am undisputably, nationally, legally, internationally, in all regards, considered an expert in nutrition. I have reached my goal, one of my goals to complete before I turn 30. Woo! And it's time to start building the career that I've always dreamed of. And good luck to you. Best of luck to your success in your career and your life. And thank you so much for watching this long video. Peace out.